Ever wondered if somehow your ancestry linked to ancient royal families? You wonder because you don't know. However, cultures and traditions stay common in both, in some cases at least. Likewise, I believe Sora may just be a descendant of another civilization, and that civilization being ancient dragon hunters from the first realm. No, not just normal dragon hunters, the very old ones. To reinforce this theory, first we must look at what the enigmatic dragon hunters are. The combined power of Una and dragon creates the FSM, a creature with human-like features. Then what species are the dragon hunters? In their design, they also have human-like features but have pale white skin with many physical deficiencies, such as missing limbs, uneven eye size and colors, and other such issues. It may be concluded that these are also a sort of human-like creature reminiscent of the FSM but poorly constructed. But why does that matter? Look into how they know the FSM. The dragon hunters only knew the FSM in the form of highly accurate stories and myths, so they must have seen the FSM at some moment in the timeline. Dragons there don't talk, so they can't tell them. Oni can, but they were feared. The only way their species would know of the FSM would be deliberately witnessing him. All in all, I believe that the dragon hunters were failed experiments. I guess Dr. Laro wasn't too far off with Sora.
We use this region as a dumping ground for broken experiments. Guess you fit that description.
Here is how the timeline has to go if this theory is correct. FSM is created, he rebels against the Oni, leading to the Great War. Then sometime later, the Oni and dragon join together again to create more beings like him to end the war, but it failed and gave birth to the dragon hunters, otherwise known as the first people. Now that we know how they came into existence, let's shift our focus to how they got out of Imperium. There are only a few ways to travel cross-realm. The first that comes to mind being dragons. The plausible, but perhaps a more plausible possibility would be Traveler's Tea. When Mr. K was telling the tale of the Una and dragon, their powers were depicted with the help of a shrubby deciduous tree. Now look at this tree from season 11. You see any similarities? It also has some of the same features. A shrubby top, thick trunk. I know that trees can be a depiction of life, but this connection is too pivotal to throw away. A tree depicting the traits of the first realm may imply there being traveler trees or even greenery being around in the first realm. Need more proof? Well, it's been said countless times that it was Mr. K who had the most experience with the Traveler's Tea. She made it, sold it, and taught it. And would you look at that? She is also an Una, and perhaps one of the Una generals too. Hence why the use of Traveler's Tea is most probable, especially considering it was a thing of their time. Rather than dragons who had their own concerns with Una, all the signs point towards the ancient dragon hunters reaching Imperium using the Traveler's Tea.
Wait, Lightning, why are there still people in the first realm? Couldn't they have crossed realms too?
Well, did you know that there were multiple clans of the dragon hunters? Judging by this line.
We're new to camp. The name's Rocky Dangerbuff.
From the Dangerbuff clan. I know stalwart Dangerbuff.
We can infer that there were multiple clans and camps. We don't know how many in total, but the existence of at least two is confirmed: the Dangerbuff clan and the Iron Baron clan. So knowing that a clan system is a thing, perhaps one or more of them migrated to Imperium to break free of the inevitable aridness of the first realm. Oh, but we are just scratching the surface right now. The following evidences are the reason I made this video in the first place. So strap yourselves in for some hefty theorizing. Firstly, seems like there's been a bit of a kerfuffle. How can a species so deformed become a species so untwisted? Here's a funny word for you: vasoconstriction. It's a phenomenon when the skin is exposed to harmful UV radiation from the sun. Blood vessels near the surface of the skin may constrict in response. This vasoconstriction reduces blood flow to the skin, causing it to appear paler. Likewise, due to how scarce the water and vegetation are in their realm, a lack of non-meat nutrition may have also kept them immobile in the evolution of their species. And if you want to say that these are just Lego people, well, I don't think pieces of plastic would have scars, wounds, a digestive system, hair growth, aging, etc. If we look at Imperium, people over there have normal yellow skin with no abnormalities. Why? Because they have the resources to build up a healthy society, unlike their ethereally divided cousins. But that's not the only thing connecting both communities. Look at their faces. See anything familiar? Both have red markings. Moreover, in such a barren land, the dragon hunters adapted a steampunk style and were able to create flying vehicles, chain-throwing grappling guns, and were also able to contact radio signals from across the ethereal divide. Imagine the extent of their engineering if they had more resources. Well, you don't have to, because we have Imperium. See, they even have flying vehicles, and probably their most important characteristic, the exploitation of dragons. Both have harmed dragons to fulfill their industrial needs with the use of some sort of technology. Now focus on this scene.
This thing is like Stone Age Imperium tech. What's powering it?
The Dragon Energy Core!
So this ancient Imperium technology has a steampunk-like design and exploits dragon power. The same features as the technology of the dragon hunters. That directly connects all the dots between the connections of the Imperians and the first people. And just as some tiny pieces of evidence sprinkled on, both communities have had deceptive power-hungry rulers, and the alleged descendant of the ancient dragon hunters, Sora, as a fellow heir who also has a powerful grappling gun. This theory tells us a story of the human instinct of survival, the migration of an entire species from one world to another, leaving behind the unfortunate only to end up in moral ruin and corruption. But remember, that's just a theory, a Ninjago theory.
Thanks for watching.